Hello and welcome. I I'm not really sure what I'm going to talk about, but I think I kind of want to talk about my experiences, I guess, as a woman living in America, which is not ideal. Spoiler alert. Though I don't think it's really ideal in a lot of countries due to the patriarchy. And a lot of this is going to be ranting, complaining, off the rails. I have pretty bad ADHD, so I I just go off on tangents, generally speaking. But the thing I'm the most frustrated about is the lack of care when it comes to OBGYN experiences. And this is something that's been weighing heavy on my mind because I also have not formally diagnosed endometriosis, but I'll get into that. So I guess to start, I am going to put a couple of trigger warnings here just because, I know a lot of people who get stressed out thinking about even going to the doctors because of things like this. And I'm also going to put in a warning for some, OBGYN procedures, some common things that, women have to get done annually. So yeah, let's get into it. So basically, also TMI warning, I'm going to be talking about periods. Shocking, I know. I started my monthly journey when I was around 12. And things weren't bad then, right? Like, it was a little weird because they were heavy at first, right? And anyone who gets heavy periods knows how awful that is. And like I said, the cramps were kind of bad, but it really didn't start getting worse until I want to say around 18 or 19. And before that, I had tried several birth controls. And pretty much any form you can think of, I have tried it at some point in order to control things. It's been a nightmare from day one, trying to get people to listen to me, people being doctors. Because I have a little bit of a triple threat, right? First, I have mental illness, so a doctor is going to see previous medication and there's bias with that. Second of all, I'm a woman, and generally, just from what I've noticed, the level of care for women is not equal to that of a man's medical care. Just from what I've personally witnessed and many other people who can chime in. And three, I am overweight. And of course, this causes a medical bias. Because, if you're overweight, right? You go into the doctor, you get unsolicited advice that you didn't ask for, and, you came in for a cold and they lectured you about your weight, basically. But around 18 or 19, my periods got to the point where for a whole week I was debilitated. I would have to lay in bed. I couldn't go to work. I couldn't do anything because of the amount of bleeding and the amount of pain that I was getting during that time. And I saw OBGYNs for this issue. But it just, it's so hard to explain if you don't personally experience these things. It's like you go in, you tell them the issues, your symptoms, and nothing happens. I lived in a small town originally, and at first I thought, oh, it must be that, there's just not the same level of care here because it's a small town. I can tell you, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you go. I now live in a city with 600,000 people and hundreds of doctors, hundreds of thousands of doctors, and every single one that I've been to since being here has treated me the same. I am now to the point where it's driving me crazy. Like, for instance, I skipped my period for 2 months. And I went to the doctor, as you do, to get pregnancy tested. I had taken tests at home, but they were all negative. So I wanted to make an appointment to get my blood tested, just to be sure. When I went there, I'm actually a survivor of sexual assault. So I prefaced with the doctor that I would prefer a female physician, just for my comfort. And they did not do that. Not only did they bring in a student to come and see me without asking, they brought in a male doctor, and the whole time I was lectured about how to eat properly, how my weight is going to end up killing me, etc. And keep in mind, I'm like I wouldn't say slim thick, but I'm not like as large as I could be, if that makes sense. Regardless, medical discrimination on this basis isn't okay. And the whole time, I just felt humiliated. It was like, I went there for this, and what are we doing? You're explaining to me about chickpeas. I don't give a shit about chickpeas. I mean, I do. I love chickpeas. But besides the point, that's not what I went there for. And so the male physician then starts kind of laying into me and was like, have you been overweight this whole time? Like, which no, I haven't. In high school, I was like 140-ish, and I explained that. And I was like, with age, I started to become larger. And he said, oh, you're talking like you're 50 years old. And just, I don't know, the way he was looking at me. Besides the point, went there for the blood test. When I left, they took my blood, but they didn't even take the pregnancy test that I was asking for. They did a cholesterol check on me without my permission or explaining why. And I understand that. It's important to watch, but my cholesterol was normal. And it also was not the primary concern that I was there for. And this happens so much with every medical interaction I've ever had. And I just want to say, ladies, if a period at most is supposed to be mildly uncomfortable, and if it is anything other than that, go get help. Keep going to different doctors until they listen to you, and be your own advocate, because regretfully, I went and I got Nexplanon, which has also been a nightmare. I've also had an IUD. That experience was another nightmare. They're gonna suggest these things to you, and my suggestion to you is research. If you really think it'll help, do it. But at the end of the day, you are the patient. And if you feel like something is wrong with your body, advocate for yourself. Because otherwise, you just won't get listened to. Especially if you live in America. Especially if you live here. And yeah, just watch out for things like that. And that isn't to say that all doctors are like that, but there's enough that it's an issue, right? We just can't keep doing this shit, man. I don't know. I told you this is going to be kind of a rambly video, but that's been weighing heavy on me, especially since I got the Nexplanon, because I have been bleeding for a month and a half straight, which is also not normal. And I'm just kind of angry because my doctor won't do a laparoscopy to check for endometriosis, even though she thinks I have it, because she wants to exhaust all their options. And let me tell you, I'm exhausted. I'm spent. I am tired of being a guinea pig, and I'm tired of not being listened to. And if anything changes, I will update you all. But that was my rant. I have plenty more rants where that came from, but yeah. Alright.